Testing 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2 testing. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of USPBL Baseball here at Jimmy John's Field of the 2019 USPBL season. Rich Borland alongside Leo Ortel as we're getting ready for the first matchup between Team Eastside of the Hoppers and then the Utica Unicorns getting ready. Both of these teams yet to have lose a game so far this season. Both teams coming into the matchup this afternoon on this Mother's Day Sunday matinee contest, as both teams are 1-0. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, whether it's some of the players' mothers or relatives of these players. That's, for the most part, most of our audience here at the USPBL, but we're very fortunate to have you tune in and watch some of your boys play on this beautiful Mother's Day afternoon. Not the greatest of weather, but you know what? The rain is not coming down even though the sun is not out, it is still always a beautiful day when baseball is being played. In terms of our matchup this afternoon, the Hoppers, Unicorns, like I mentioned, both undefeated, so one team will be left at the top at the end of weekend number 1 with a 2-0 record. And as we get into the contest, we have a couple of newcomers on the mound for the Utica Unicorns. It'll be Spencer Stockton, of course, out of Jacksonville University, as well as Wellington, Florida. And then on the opposite end for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers out of Phoenix, Arizona, and Regis University, it'll be Noah Gotsis. So I mentioned yesterday how we have Leo Ortel as my number 1 intern here with us at Jimmy John's Field in the broadcasting spectrum of things. Leo, excited to have you back on the call here this afternoon. And how about you tell us a little bit about this pitching matchup we have going on today?
Yeah, thanks, Rich. Good to be back on the call with you once again. Second game. First was yesterday. We'll have Spencer Stockton on the mound for the Unicorns. A lot of promise for him. 17 games last year with Jacksonville University through 92 2/3. 3.59 ERA. We'll take a quick break here for the national anthem.
Spectacular job. Let's give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Alrighty, another tremendous showing there for the national anthem. I want to welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. First contest between the Unicorns and the Diamond Hoppers for the 2019 season. It'll be Spencer Stockton getting loose up there on the bump for these Unicorns. He's got a fastball, curveball, cutter, changeup that he likes to mix in pretty much all together. In terms of how things are looking for the opposition going against him today, it'll be Kevin Watley, the returning shortstop. Started every single game for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers last season. The third baseman, Wesley Jones, the newcomer, batting second. Brian Davis, the first baseman, he's number 8, batting in the third hole. Batting cleanup today, the right fielder, number 22, Bryce Peterson, batting 5th, the center fielder, right here from Detroit, Michigan, out of Wayne State University. That's number 12, Pat Adams, batting in the 6th hole. The catcher, number 13, Tommy Lacongo, went 2 for 3 in the opening day baseball game back on Friday night and helped propel the Hoppers to a victory. And then batting 7th, the left fielder, number 11, Caleb Davidson. Batting 8th, the designated hitter, number 20, Zachary Gray. And then rounding out the east side lineup, former west side Woolly Mammoth, the second baseman, number 44, Freddie Geely. Leo, now I know you haven't necessarily seen a lot of these guys in here, but in terms of Stockton, how about you give a little bit more background on where he's coming from for some of these fans?
Yeah, sure, Rich. Spencer Stockton, coming out of Wellington, Florida, previously played Division I NCAA ball at Jacksonville University. As I was saying before the national anthem, 17 games this past season, 92 2/3 innings, 3.59 earned run average, and 8-6 record. 81 strikeouts and only 23 walks, so definitely has control of his pitches. Also second team in the Atlantic Sun Conference in both his sophomore and junior year. So definitely a promising talent, someone that we definitely have to watch for this season. Right-handed pitcher will be facing off here against the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. Like Rich said, both these teams coming in 1-0 on the season, so it should be a great matchup.
And starting off up at the top here, Kevin Watley had about half of my highlight reel for him last year, as he is spectacular with the glove, as first pitch brought in there at 104, getting started to pinch early, but never a bad thing here at the ballpark, and we are ready to go with baseball. Stockton starting off with the 0-1. Fly ball this time around. Watley trying to take it the other way, didn't get a good piece of the bat on it. One up and one down there for Spencer Stockton, the Wellington, Florida, and Jacksonville University product. And I was talking with Willie Martin, the assistant manager of these Utica Unicorns, going into this ball game, and he said that Stockton's got some of the best stuff in the league and would be one of the premier players to get called up maybe a little bit early on this year. So we're excited to see what Stockton can do in a Utica Unicorn uniform. Triple U, as Wesley Jones takes a big cut, fouls it off into the protective netting there behind home plate.
And Jones is definitely another player we got to watch out for this season as well. Has been in affiliated ball with the Colorado Rockies organization.
As that one misses high and away. Good eye there from the third baseman, the Lithonia, Georgia native, like you mentioned there with the Rockies organization, was actually hurt for a bit in 17. Did end up getting released in 2018, but he's here now, ready to make the most of his opportunity. Slow roller over there to the second baseman, Kyle Bonicki, ends up making the play, but with that speed down the line, made it a little bit closer than we expected there for Wesley Jones. And quickly, before we get to Brian Davis, the starting first baseman, coming up to the plate with 2 outs and nobody on. Defensively for the Corns, from left to right, you got Kohli Curry in left, had a great game last night. Cameron Poche out there in center, and then Dallas Oliver, the returner, out there in right field. Colin Rideout, Adrian Guzman, Kyle Bonicki, Larry Mccabe, your infield across the diamond. And then, of course, joining Spencer Stockton as a part of the battery, just making the catch there on strike number 1 to Brian Davis, is Austin Maltby, as Davis gets ready for the 0-1. Not the best of weather for Brian Davis, as he, of course, played his college days at Florida A&M. So got to imagine that for a lot of these guys that come from the South, playing up here in Michigan in the early May month, it's something they're going to have to get used to, and especially it's a good thing, though, because it'll get you ready for the playoffs, because that's, of course, in September, well down the road. So
Definitely.
Davis makes a little bit of contact to remain alive just for a second. Maltby in there for Latona behind the dish today. Remember, Latona in the first inning yesterday let one go by him and ended up bringing in the first run of the ball game, the only run of the ball game for the Mammoths. But overall, a tremendous day up on the mound for the Corns, and looks like it's going to continue on into the Sunday afternoon contest as Stockton gets his first strikeout of his USPBL career. 3 up, 3 down, no problem for the Corns. We'll see what they can do up at the plate when we come back. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this Mother's Day matinee contest. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms tuning in. Pretty quick inning for Spencer Stockton to start off this one. He took care of the top three in the Eastside order without any issue. Fly ball, ground ball, strikeout, 9 pitches, 8 of them for strikes. We'll see what his counterpart, Noah Gotsis, can do in his USPBL debut. He'll deal with Oliver Curry and Cameron Poche to start this one off. Oliver taking his first cut, fouls it off over our heads here in the press box as Gotsis got a fastball, curveball, slider, cutter, and a changeup. This ball chopped one hop over there to the hopper shortstop, Kevin Watley. Oliver is retired quickly. The 6-3 putout, good for out number 1 here in the home half of the first.
And we'll take a look at Noah Gotsis, the right-hander from Phoenix, Arizona. Previously played at Regis University. This will be his first season in the USPBL. Both pitchers today making their debut. 4 seasons at Regis University. Division II for Gotsis, 59 total games, 275 innings, a 19-18 record, 4.75 earned run average, 236 strikeouts in his 2018 campaign. Had a little bit higher of a ERA than his total 4-year cumulative ERA, 5.32, but did have 4 complete games, so definitely has the ability to work late into games.
And that's something that Paul Nochi's, I'm guessing, going to be very happy with as the season continues on. And, of course, these two teams won't have a game to play until later on in the week, but got to be able to use the guys as much as possible. As maybe a mental issue there for Caleb Davidson in left field. Looks as if he might have been able to run that one down, but held off at the last second to let that one drop in. And Kohli Curry continuing to just absolutely battle up there at the plate. Last night was 3 for 4 with 3 singles, a run scored, 2 RBIs, and a walk. But that all came after he grounded out into a double play way back in the first inning yesterday. So Curry getting off to a hot start, continuing where he left off from last night. And now it's Cameron Poche coming up to the plate. The center fielder, he's yet to have a hit in the USPBL as he's well behind that fastball at 91 miles an hour. He was 0 for 2. Did have 3 times reaching, though, as he got 2 walks and was hit by a pitch. We'll see what he can do in today's contest, see if he can notch out that first hit. This one in on the hands at 91 again. This one in shallow left center field. Underneath it, taking charge is Pat Adams, the De La Salle High School product. Calls off Kevin Watley, and that doesn't happen all that often. Watley is a very aggressive fielder, and you saw him going back into the outfield grass. He will never give up on a ball until he is called off. And a good job there by Adams taking charge out there in center field, as the center fielder should.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job by him. Like you said, to take charge there. It's in the outfield. It's the center fielder's ball. We know that the shortstop is pretty much the captain of the infield. The center fielder is the captain of the outfield. Definitely Adams' ball. And as these players are just getting used to working with each other, getting used to the field, you know, it's tough for them towards the beginning of the season. But as the season goes on, they'll get to know each other better and their tendencies, so that'll go a long way.
Over on first is Curry, and look at that, Dan Williams, who had a 2-run homer last night. He continues to swing the bat well. Is this ball thrown over to third base? A bang-bang play, but how about the throw there from Bryce Peterson on a line, almost in time, but Kohli Curry with just enough speed slides in safely head first. And I'll tell you what, that was a lot closer than we expected, but nice job there from Peterson to at least make it close with runners now on the corners with 2 outs. Nice job by Dan Williams to continue to press the issue. Williams batting in the 7th spot last night, getting moved up into the cleanup role after that big fly to dead center field. He had a couple of them, except only one of them got out of the ballpark.
That's right.
Now we will, in fact, see a new face. It's Larry Mccabe at the first base slot here this afternoon, as Mccabe swings and misses at the first offer he sees.
McCabe spent his last season with Coker College, played 44 games, batted .333. Definitely some power potential in his bat. As a left-hander, 10 home runs in his senior year with Coker, and also 41 RBIs. So good to see him in the 5 spot, facing the righty today.
McCabe takes a look at one, evens his count up at 1-1, and if you're Gotsis, loves going to the curveball for his out pitch, as this one in there just on the outside corner, called strike two. So now Mccabe going to have to be ready for just about anything. But mentioned previously how Gotsis, he's got 5 pitches to work with. So obviously he's got quite the arsenal that he can control. Excited to see how things pan out there for the right-hander throughout the season. But he's got a little bit of trouble to deal with as Mccabe in his first USPBL at-bat. See what he can do if he can put the Corns on the board here in the home half of the first. The 1-2 pitch inside,
Great
swung
pitch.
on and missed. 83 miles an hour. Looked to be that slider in on the hands, and McCabe goes down as the first strikeout victim of the day. Both pitchers with a strikeout to end the first inning. We head to the second. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Leo Ortel with you. It'll be Bryce Peterson, Pat Adams, Tommy Lukongo, the 4, 5, 6 hitters due up to start this second inning. Spencer Stockton out there with 9 pitches, 8 of them for strikes coming into this inning, and he is stepping up right where he had left off as Peterson quickly down in the count 0-2. You loved what we saw there from Peterson and right on that toss to third that almost took down Kohli Curry, but in the end, too much speed there from the left fielder getting into safely at third base as this ball, fastball at 88, misses high. Count goes to 1-2. Mentioned how Stockton got fastball, curveball, cutter, and a changeup that he really mixes in whenever he pleases as the wind going a little bit towards right field this afternoon, but that pitch absolutely filthy, 84 miles an hour, and there was nothing Peterson was going to do about it. Swing and a miss, quickly 1 up and 1 down, and it'll be Pat Adams coming up to the plate, the Wayne State product.
That was a great pitch there on the 1-2. Went to the off-speed pitch outside. Just absolutely fooled him there. Knew he had a few pitches to waste. That's just a great pitch, getting Peterson to go down swinging.
So Pat Adams, 31 games last year, 267 average. Did take 1 ball for a ride with a home run, 9 RBIs, but he did have 6 multi-hit games. So not a guy who's going to bring a lot of power to the table, but name of the game is get him on, get him over, get him in, and he's trying to at least get on at the moment as he looks at a pair of pitches out of the zone. Good hitters count coming up for the left-hander. His infield, outfield for the most part at normal depth. Looks as if the wind will continue to push right this afternoon as quickly Adams is looking at a 3-0 count, and with nobody on base, 1 out, got to imagine you're going to get the take sign here. Did see a couple different situations yesterday where the green light was given on 3-0.
That's right.
But nothing doing here. 4 pitches in a row after the leadoff strikeout puts the center fielder on first base. One man out, one man on. And now Tommy Lukongo, the offensive hero from opening day, who went 2 for 3 coming up to the plate for the Hoppers.
And also 2 runs batted in that game. Hoppers won that by a final of 5-4. Also, we mentioned that dominant starting pitching performance from Luis Contreras. Those 5 innings, 10 strikeouts, just 2 earned runs. Earned his first win in his first start here in the USPBL.
Loving what we're seeing thus far from the pitching staffs in the first couple of games. A lot of talent at the top of these rotations as the 1-0 in there at 87. Called strike one, brings the count even at 1-1. Tommy Lukongo, of course, was actually roommates with unicorn catcher Jimmy Latona back in junior college. Found that out just recently. Of course, Latona not getting the nod today, getting the day off. It's really tough to do that, not necessarily doubleheader, but it's one of those, day-night doubleheaders where you got one game at night and then back at it the next morning. As Lukongo down in the count now 1-2. Had a .230 average last year, looking to get that up a bit, and it sits at .667 right now, but still well early into the season. This one could be 2, 4, 6, no doubt 3 over there as Bonicki, Guzman, and Mccabe put a nice pair together, and we are through 1.5 innings of play. Hoppers threaten but don't score. We head to the home half of the second. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're through an inning and a half. So far, so good from a pitching standpoint, as it'll be Maltby, Rideout, and Guzman start things off for the Corns in the home half of the second inning. First couple of pitches in there to Maltby. 1 ball, 1 strike. Coming into this frame, starter for the Corns, Noah Gotsis, with 13 pitches, 10 of them for strikes, and quickly Maltby down in the count 1-2. Gotsis with the leg kick, push, and ball hit hard on the ground, but well foul down that third base left field line. Had a Mother's Day brunch prior to the game for the moms that attended today's ball game, as Gotsis swings and gets enough of the outside black. Maltby thought about it, but ends up getting rung up via the K. Back-to-back strikeouts, and how about that? Gotsis matching Stockton. Starts off the second frame as he had ended the first with strikeouts.
And we saw Gotsis struggle a little bit in the first inning. 2 base hits, ended up being first and third situation with 2 outs, but able to strike out Larry Mccabe to end that inning. So worked his way out of a jam. A little bit better of a start to this inning with the strikeout to Maltby.
So here comes Colin Rideout. Rideout looks at called strike one at 73 miles an hour. Rideout, last night's game, was batting in the 6th spot. Got brought down one spot as, of course, Dan Williams getting put into that cleanup role after the 2-run homer last night. But Rideout, 1 for 4 in the debut, did have a single and a walk and a run scored, as he's quickly down in the count 0-2 now, as Gotsis not messing around. Breaking ball over to the right side, stays just fair over that first base bag, and Rideout, unfortunately, it is a game of inches, and that one, by a hair, stays fair, and Brian Davis takes that one unassisted. Very easy play there for the Florida A&M product, as Adrian Guzman now standing in. He was 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts, that dreaded sombrero last night, but the beauty of this great game, there's always tomorrow, and
that's right.
See what it can bring here for the La Puente, California native, as getting back to work is Gotsis, firing the fastball in there for strike one. And it's one thing that one of the players told me yesterday, you know, we're early on in this season. It was Kohli Curry, back at the end of the ball game yesterday, as Guzman finds his first hit of the 2019 USPBL season with 2 outs. But Curry was saying last night to Matt Derry in the post-game interview how do you approach, you know, with the weather, and
right.
Early on you don't necessarily know what these guys are going to bring, and Curry talked about how these pitchers are going to, of course, work on their fastball as much as they can and try and, you know, set the tone, but Curry understands that fully, and Guzman took a full advantage of that fastball there as he's over on first base now. Kyle Bonicki standing in, as Guzman was coming into today, so is Bonicki, looking for his first hit of the season. He was 0 for 3, but did walk and come around to score a run yesterday.
And like you said, these hitters seeing some arms from all different levels. You know, you've had guys that have played in affiliated ball, some guys that have played D1 baseball, D3 baseball. So they're coming from all walks of baseball. So you don't know who you're going to see. All these guys trying to reach the next level. So very competitive league. Hitters have been very aggressive so far this season, coming out swinging the bat, not afraid to swing on the 3-0 count like we talked about earlier, but also not afraid to swing at the first pitch that they see.
Just saw the cutter miss upstairs from Gotsis. See what he decides to bring on the 2-1 pitch. Fastball at 91. Well, behind that one was Bonicki. Fouls that one off and out of play. Gotsis brings the count even to 2-2. Mentioned how he was at 13 pitches coming into this frame. Continuing to work, and has allowed 3 singles in this ball game, but not really a threat other than when Curry got over to third base. This ball chopped over there to the second baseman, Freddie Geely, former Westside Woolly Mammoth player, makes the play. One second baseman retires another, and the Corns threaten but don't score as we head to the 3rd inning. Scoreless, you're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. And we want to welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. Getting right back into the action, Caleb Davidson for the Hoppers, taking a crack at the first opportunity he sees this afternoon. The left fielder out of China Spring, Texas, takes a cut. That one will go nowhere, as that one is caught out there in center by Cameron Poche. One up and one down on one pitch. Can't do much better than that if you're Stockton.
No, absolutely not. Stockton has faced the minimum so far, just the one walk, but ended last inning as Tommy Licago grounded into that double play. So far looking really good. Control on point as he deals a first pitch strike right there with the fastball.
Zachary Gray, the designated hitter, up to the plate. Looks at a couple of pitches, one for a called strike and one for a ball. Zachary Gray batting from the left side. Gray out of Hamilton, Ohio there. Batted just below 300 as a senior.
He's also looking for his first hit of the season, 0 for 5 in the first game against the Beavers.
That one called strike on the outer third as Stockton's been looking really sharp. And you know, there's a difference between succeeding all the way through, but when you have a battle and you're able to overcome it, we saw that happen last inning. He had a 4-pitch walk after a leadoff strikeout, and then on just a couple of pitches got Licago to ground out into that 4-6-3 double play. So Stockton helping himself out after that 4-pitch walk halfway through that inning last time around. This time, the payoff pitch over to the right side. Zachary Gray got jammed in on the hands. Great job by Stockton to get the weak ground ball. The 4-3 putout is recorded. And coming up to the plate now, Freddie Geely, former Westside Woolly Mammoth.
Geely attended Siena Heights University. In 2018, actually hit .444, made the all-conference team, hit 14 doubles, .326 career average, and like you mentioned, a few games last year for the Mammoths. Not a big hitter up at the plate.
Fouls that 88-mile-an-hour fastball up and away. Geely, a small guy, but you know that's not necessarily all that matters nowadays. You see guys like Jose Altuve. I mean,
that's right.
The list could go on.
Tony Kemp.
You know, back ways maybe Dustin Pedroia.
Sure.
As the 0-1 fouled off again. So Geely, you're going to see him late on a bunch of stuff, but he can put it in play. Makes good contact, and mentioned how I wasn't sure if he was going to be coming back this year, as I knew he wasn't going to be on the Mammoths anymore, but the Hoppers liked what they saw, and they're keeping him on this roster here. As the 0-2 pitch, fastball up. Stockton tried to get him to chase after something, but that one not close enough to the target that he wanted. Left it up a little bit more, and a guy like Geely won't be swinging at that. The 1-2 from Stockton, the kick, the push, outside corner, looked to be the changeup at 83 miles an hour. That's darn near perfect pitch. It was right on that outside frame, but just enough away to not let Geely get good contact on it if he did elect to take a try at it. Meanwhile, this one in on the hand, so you love seeing Stockton going back and forth through the inner and outer thirds of the plate. It is working so far. We got 3 up and 3 down. Didn't even give me a second to put the outs up on the board, but it won't matter. So we head to the home half of the third. We remain scoreless. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We want to welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen. We're through 2.5 innings of play. Back to the top of the order. Both of these pitchers, though, have been absolutely cruising throughout this one. As back to the top of the Unicorn lineup we go, it's Dallas Oliver. Both of these pitchers getting through the lineup through the first 3 innings. Stockton had gotten through the lineup, but it only took 2 frames for Gotsis to get through, and going down via the swing and the miss there is Oliver, and Gotsis not messing around there, but Oliver definitely an aggressive type of player, so it's understood that maybe he will chase after a couple this year as Gotsis gets his strikeout number 3 of the afternoon.
And we saw him actually start the last frame with the strikeout, does the same here. And now Kohli Curry up to bat, singled back in the first, a blooper into left center field.
0-1 to Curry. Inside corner called strike number 2. Great pitch there from Gotsis. Looked as if Curry was trying to get out of the way, but he is up on that plate. Gotsis is not afraid to go inside on him and not afraid to just go right at him. The 0-2 pitch dropped off right under the table, and Curry chases after it. He's been very tough to get out throughout this couple of games so far this season, but finally Curry is retired. I mentioned he went 3 for 4 yesterday and was already 1 for 1 going into that at-bat, but quickly humbled with that swing and miss strikeout. Great job there from Gotsis to get a hot hitter up at the plate. Now Cameron Poche coming up. So he's still looking for hit number 1 in his USPBL career. That one outside corner missed just by a hair, but I like what we're seeing from Gotsis. He's working quick, getting back in the zone, and ready to come raring back. The 1-0 breaking pitch, and look at that movement on that one. I mean, I could look at that all day.
That's a tough one for a righty, maybe looking for the fastball, as Poche was ahead in the count 1-0, but perfect pitch curving away from the right-hander.
And there it is again.
Yep.
Not sure exactly what you're supposed to do with that if you're not predicting that coming out of the hand, but I got to imagine that you got to be ready for that, and then if it's anything else, you kind of just react to it. And unfortunately, not enough time to react. That is the bread and butter there from Gotsis, mixing the fastball and the curveball back and forth, and he made Poche look like he had never seen anything like that before, but great stuff there.
Strikes out the side, yep.
Right there.
3 swinging, too. Pretty impressive, yep.
Some really great deception there from Gotsis. So we're through 3 scoreless. Great pitching matchup we have on tap today. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. And we welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen, to the broadcast booth. It'll be the top of the Eastside order to start this 4th frame as Stockton goes back to work. Kevin Watley shows bunt, but pulls back to start this frame.
Watley was the defensive player of the year last year. 2018 USPBL season, like you mentioned before, started in every game. definitely more of a defensive shortstop, but Paul Noce gives him the nod in the top spot of the lineup for the second time this season. 0 for 3 in his first game, so looking for his first hit of this year. But I think Noce definitely recognizes that he does have some potential with his bat. Probably worked a lot on hitting during the offseason, and obviously a lot of experience in the league, so looking to do more with the bat this year.
And it's funny you mentioned that, saying that he probably worked a lot in the offseason as he follows off the third pitch of the at-bat. I actually follow Kevin Watley on Instagram, and he had been posting. I'm not kidding. I'm shocked as if I did not go a full day without seeing him post something to his Instagram story about, he was either in the, facility training hard, or he actually, I'm pretty sure he either went down south or somewhere out of the country to play for a little bit. I'll get more details as the season creeps along and I get a little bit more time to talk with some of these guys as they ventured back to the great state of Michigan. But, yeah, Watley is a guy, one of those, Bulldogs that doesn't like to really take days off, and it's clearly been showing, at least defensively so far, for this young man. But really excited to see what he can do offensively this year. Is that one ricochets off the glove of Stockton, and there is nothing that Adrian Guzman is going to be able to do. And for anybody that had been keeping tabs on this one, first hit of the game there for Team Eastside, as that one, not much you can really do about it with it ricocheting off the glove and then getting caught in the grass in the infield. There wasn't much Adrian Guzman was going to be able to do for as good as a defender that he is.
I kind of just hit that one off the end of the bat. Maybe would have snuck into center field, but good to see Watley get his first hit of the season.
Keeping tabs on Watley over there is Stockton. Watley last year had 10 stolen bases, so the powers or the stealing speed is there. As this one, I was getting caught up there with the power as we saw Wesley Jones take a deep fly ball out there to center field, but wind blowing in. That one's going to stay in the ballpark. Nice swing though from the third baseman. As that one goes down in the books for out number 1. Staying over at first is Watley, and now Brian Davis will come to the plate 0 for 1 with a swing and miss strikeout that ended the top of the first.
That was a loud crack of the bat. I was just looking down at my notes, heard the crack of the bat, and I was like, wow, definitely just got a little bit under that one. A lot of power for Wesley Jones.
As Davis stands in from the left side, looks at ball 1 to begin this at-bat. The Hoppers in the playoffs last year, they finished in second, of course, as Davis looks at called strike 1, evens this count up at 1-1. Unicorns and Hoppers did not play in the playoffs last season, as, of course, the Unicorns lost in the opening round, as this one looks like it's going to be an easy steal there for Kevin Watley. Mentioned his 10 stolen bases last year, and he is successful on the very first try, catching Austin Maltby maybe off guard for a sec. Maltby tossed that one off of his knees. Not a bad throw, but not going to get a guy like Watley.
Nope. Great jump at first.
Exactly, with that jump. So Davis now with an opportunity. Single could drive in a run. First of what would be the game for either team is now Stockton. Maybe having a little bit of command issue with the runner on, going from the stretch compared to the windup.
Davis had a good season last year, 4 home runs in just 24 games. Also 15 runs batted in. He'll draw the walk here. Also interesting note, he was teammates at Florida A&M with Dallas Oliver.
Yep. Without a doubt. A lot of small connections from guys who played in either college together or maybe summer ball in years past. But, I mean, with anything in life, it's all about who you know, of course.
Right.
And some of these guys getting opportunities to come play in this league because of men that are already in the league. I know over there on the Beavers staff, Nick Campana joined the team early on last year, and then TJ Ward came along for the ride because the Beavers were in need of an infielder after Christian Helsel went down with an injury. TJ Ward came in, solidified the role pretty easily, and he's now a household name over at the hot corner. We'll get more into that when the Beavers get back on the ball diamond next weekend. But for now, it's Bryce Peterson's turn. He's down in the count 0-1. Stockton brings in the bender, 80 miles an hour. Quickly, Peterson down in the count 0-2, trying to avoid his second consecutive strikeout of the ball game.
And we just saw Stockton was struggling a little bit with his control walk. The last hitter, interesting to see him go back-to-back breaking balls. The first one was outside, a little check swing, so he's fooled him twice.
And then he comes upstairs with some sweet chin music at 89. But a good eye from Peterson to lay off. And, of course, you got to imagine that might have been a setup pitch. Stockton wouldn't be surprised if maybe he tossed a curveball or a cutter away this time to try and get Peterson to chase.
For something in the dirt.
And there it is. It's like we've been to a baseball game or two, but Peterson was ready for it as well. So Stockton with a nice try, but not close enough to get Peterson to pull the string. Runners now, of course, on first and second base. Watley over there at second. Davis at first, who reached on the walk. Stockton would love nothing more than a ground ball up the middle here. Try and get 2 for the price of 1. The 2-2 pitch gets him. Peterson might have thought it was a bit low, but with 2 strikes, you got to be ready for anything. And Peterson goes down via the strikeout for the second time. First via the look here today, but see what he can do next time around, as that is good enough for out number 2. Pat Adams getting ready, trying to reach base safely for the second consecutive time. Reached on a 4-pitch walk back in that second inning. We'll see if the command can stay true there for Stockton as he battles against the hometown kid in Pat Adams.
3 strikeouts now for Stockton.
That one fouled off the end of the bat in foul territory.
2 walks, 1 coming this inning, and like you said, the 1 to Pat Adams back in the second. That was a great at-bat against Bryce Peterson. Really mixed up his pitch as well. Froze him up with that inside fastball with the 2-strike count. I don't think he was expecting that. Maybe expecting him to go back to the off-speed, but so far Stockton, using all 4 of his pitches, has been very successful.
That one's popped up and out of play. Adams quickly down in the count 0-2. Stockton continuing to work that strike zone as finishing up a tally here with some pitches. Came into this frame with 33 under his belt as the 0-2 commences. Right down Broadway, Adams is completely froze as back-to-back looking strikeouts. Nice job there by Stockton to get the job done. We're halfway through 4. We'll see if the Unicorns can muster up any type of offense. And we're still waiting for that first run of the ballgame. We're scoreless. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you it will be Williams, Mccabe, Maltby, 2 up for the Corns to start this home half of the 4th inning, but we'll see exactly how Gotsis will continue to cruise. He's been stellar through this one, just 38 pitches through the first 3 frames, struck out the side in almost an immaculate inning in the 3rd, had just 1 ball thrown to Coleman Poche as he gets back to work as Dan Williams fouls off the 1-1 pitch. Count now down to 1-2 on the designated hitter who was batting in the 7th spot last night. Had the 2-run homer that went very far to dead center field. And then up here in the cleanup spot, already 1 for 1 with a single today. So Williams has been seeing the ball tremendously up until this at-bat here as he swings and misses. Chases the high heat. Looked to be that cutter, which Gotsis loves to go upstairs with.
A lot of pitches available for him, 5 in his arsenal. Like you said, went to the cutter right there. That's his 4th strikeout in a row now. That's a big hitter to get as well. And Dan Williams put his stamp on the season with that big 2-run shot, the first home run and the only home run we've seen so far in the 2019 USPBL season.
Mccabe, meanwhile, taking a cut at that slider out of the hand of Gotsis, swung on and missed. And I'll tell you what, we saw Luis Contreras on day 1 of the 2019 USPBL season put up a gem, but looks as if Gotsis is trying to one-up him here. He did have 10 Ks through 5 innings, did Contreras. Might not have as many strikeouts through 5, depending how the rest of this one goes, but wouldn't be surprised to see Gotsis go even further in this one as Mccabe fouls one off towards the left side, down in the count now 1-2, as that one right down that left field line. Might have to wait a second, and worst thing you don't want to see is Davidson down there left step on that or something. So it is finally picked up, and we are ready to get back into the action. Gotsis in on the hands at 91 miles an hour. Popping this one up is Mccabe, right into the mid of Wesley Jones as he backtracks that one into the outfield grass. Good enough for out number 2. 2 up and 2 down for the right-hander.
And we kind of saw towards the beginning of the game, Spencer Stockton was dominating for the most part. Now Noah Gotsis trying to one-up him, looking to go 1-2-3 for the 2nd inning in a row. 3 hits so far for the Unicorns, those coming in the first 2 frames. But so far, through the last 2 innings, Gotsis absolutely cruising.
As Maltby chases after an off-speed pitch. Loving what we're seeing from Gotsis. This inning, starting more guys off with the off-speed stuff compared to the fastball. I mean, the approach is definitely there. You know Gotsis has the right idea, and in terms of pitch selection, can't really do much better than what he's doing right now.
Yeah, that's right. And also comes in with just a lot of experience, 275 total innings over his 4 years at Regis University. It's D2 ball, so maybe not the highest level, but still comes in with a ton of experience and trying to make a name for himself in the USPBL.
So he's got another player down with 2 strikes. Maltby staying alive just barely, fouling that one off towards M59 range. But overall, just got to love what we're seeing from every single starting pitcher that we've been able to feast our eyes on so far in this season. You got Gotsis and Stockton today. Yesterday, Goodson, as well as, this one, over into left field past the 3rd baseman, Wesley Jones. Good job by Maltby. That's first hit of the season in his 2nd at-bat. So 1 for 2 on the year. Good job from the catcher to keep this inning alive in the home half of the 4th.
Now you mentioned Latona got the start in Game 1, and Austin Maltby gets the nod behind the dish today. First hit in the USPBL. So he's 1 for 2. And Colin Rideout will step up to the plate, left-handed batter. So far 0 for 1, grounded out to first back in the 2nd. So he's got 1 man on with 2 down, and that pitch is fouled off to the left side, over to the screen.
So Rideout grounded out into that close play down the first baseline to Brian Davis. Back in the 2nd inning, trying to get hit number 2 of the season. Mentioned he had the one single last night.
And I believe that came in his last at bat of the night. Tennessee Wesleyan University product. Hit 322 in the 2017-2018 season, 5 home runs, so he's got some power potential. Another left-handed bat in this Unicorns lineup.
This one chopped over there to the first base side again, and right out for the second consecutive time. It's going to be a 3U unassisted play there from Brian Davis. To end the 4th inning, the single from Maltby goes unscathed, and we head to the 5th, still looking for run number 1 of this ball game. Great pitching matchup thus far from Stockton and Gotsis. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. And we want to welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. It'll be Lucago, Davidson, and Gray due up for Team Eastside to start off the 5th frame. Stockton back out there. 52 pitches through the first 4 frames, 33 of them for strikes, 4 strikeouts to just 2 walks. Not a bad ratio thus far, but most importantly, he's allowed just the 1 hit. Soft ground ball hit there by Kevin Watley. Ended up actually stealing a base as well, but overall, Stockton as well as Gotsis have been tremendous. And for the baseball fans out there that like a lot of offense, this is not your type of day, but I'll be honest, I was a pitcher at a junior college around here. I am all for a pitching matchup and a pitcher's duel.
Yeah, that's just a part of the game. Sometimes you see a pitching duel like this. I'm a huge fan of it too. Gotta love to see arms just going out there battling, but so far, both teams very aggressive, especially the Diamond Hoppers, and so far Stockton just carving them up.
Not sure exactly how long it's going to take us to get to our first run of the ball game. Might happen to be a 1-0 game where one mistake was made, and that keeps these players on their toes because they understand that it means that much more. As this one taken for a little ride out into left center field, but it's going to stay in the ballpark. Left fielder Kohli Curry coming underneath it, calling off his center fielder Coleman Poche, and that one is easy play there for the left fielder as Lucago is retired for the 2nd time today. 1 up and 1 down for Spencer Stockton. You'll take it with Lucago ahead in the count, 3-1 there, and you don't hear all that often that Lucago gets in a 3-1 count and does not get on base after the fact, as this one popped up. Looks like it might stay in the park, but instead it will, in fact, carry enough out into the grandstands. So Davidson down in the count quickly, 0-1. It's just the second pitch he's seen so far today. He was first pitch swinging as well back to start the third frame. Flew out there to center field where Coleman Poche is. The left fielder trying to make a name for himself here at the United Shore Professional Baseball League. The 0-1 to him. Fastball at 88 misses upstairs. Evens this count up at 1-1.
Davidson enters the ballgame with some previous experience. Played in the Pecos League the past 2 seasons. In 2018 with the Alpine Cowboys, hit .278 with 8 home runs, and then back in 2017 with the Hollywood Stars, also in the Pecos League, 11 home runs and 50 RBIs. So there's some power potential here, and slotted towards the bottom of the lineup in the 7 spot.
The 1-2 to Davidson. Ground ball chopped to the right side. Some PFPs in order. And that'll be Mccabe over to Stockton. Nice job by the two of those gentlemen to create the 3-1 putout. And I was talking with Willie Martin, the assistant manager of these Unicorns, prior to the contest today. I was asking him if they were going to go with the Tampa Bay Rays approach like they had towards the end of the season last year. But I was told by Willie Martin that they're going to allow Stockton to go about 75 to 80 pitches, depending where he's at in the game. But I think you really couldn't have written up anything better than what he has been able to provide for the staff today. Just one of the most important parts of the art of pitching, as Jim Price would say. Of course, the command has to be there, but the ability to go back and forth between the inner and outer thirds with the fastball and then kind of dicing in the off-speed wherever you want it, it's a recipe for success, and would not be surprised to see Stockton in a different uniform come the end of the 2019 baseball season.
So far, mixing speeds, mixing locations, doing it all so far, just the one hit given up. Like you mentioned, that soft single for Kevin Watley. So really a strong outing, and you said maybe he'll go about 80 pitches. I wouldn't be surprised if they extended his start, if he can, stay on the roll that he's on right now. He'll try to work as deep into this ballgame as they can, especially because the Unicorns played actually the first night, and used some relief pitchers in that one.
As now Gray looks at another one that misses the zone. Count 3-1 on the designated hitter. Batting from the left side. Infield, outfield at normal depth. Wind dies down a little bit more now as this one back up the middle. Fans thankful for that protected netting that you actually really don't see all that much. I was listening to our commish, Andy Appleby, talk on the news prior to the season commencing, and it's actually the thinnest type of netting that money can buy. So Andy Appleby, of course, a fan-first man, and that is all part of the plan here, and he has done a tremendous job through the first 3+ seasons at Jimmy John's Field. The payoff pitch to Gray, ground ball slowly back up the middle. Bonicki's going to have to charge it, make the throw on the run, and not in time. Gary Wagenschutz with the firm, safe call over at first base, and Zachary Gray is the DH, but using that speed to his advantage, does a good job putting the ball in place, sticks the bat out there, and see what can happen, and he ends up getting just the second hit of the day for his team. 2 outs, 1 man on here in the top of the 5th. We'll see if Freddie Geely can put something together and get a runner into scoring position for just the second time today, as Watley made it to second base after that stolen base back in the 4th.
Geely 0 for 1 so far. Popped out to shortstop back in the 3rd. Looking for his first hit of the 2019 USPBL season. Did not get the start in the first game. Saw Joseph Rzuski Jr. play at second and also hit in the 9 spot, just like Geely is here in the Hoppers' second game. We also mentioned both teams coming in with a 1-0 record.
That one off the bat, off the leather of the catcher's mitt, and into the back of our protective area, as that one brings the count to 0-2. Not sure if you know this or not, Leo. One of the cool little facets that I learned a couple of years back, the distance from home plate to where our fans sit in the dugout suite area right there behind home plate is the closest you can get to home plate in any major league type of ballpark.
That's right. Yeah, I did read something about that. That's definitely a cool experience. I've sat in those seats down there before. Really nice view for the fans. You feel like you're right on the field practically down there. A lot of options available here at Jimmy John's Field as far as seating. Those lower suites behind home plate. You got the cabanas down above the dugouts on the first base and third base side. You know, the pavilion with the umbrellas down the left field and right field lines. Ton of options. You got the lawn seating in right field. Any seat's great in this park.
And, of course, going to have to drop it here, as you just mentioned, all the awesome possibilities to be able to watch the game here at the ballpark. If any fans out there ever have the interest of bringing some type of group or party to the park, feel free to reach out to me, because not only just a broadcaster here, but also a sales rep. So if you have interest in bringing out the family, friends, company party, feel free to reach out to the main line there at 248-601-2400. If you'd like to talk to me, you can hit my extension at 141. Would love to help put anything together. But back into the swing of things in between the lines as Geely fouls off another one. The count remains at 1-2. The second baseman looking for hit number 1 of the 2019 season could not come at a better time, as it has been nothing doing against Stockton in this one, as that ball just misses on the outside half. Brings the count even at 2-2. Mentioned how Geely not necessarily known for the power. Contact is usually there, at least prior to his USPBL time, but still trying to make a name for himself here in Utica. Won't do it on this AB, as the slider in there right down Broadway freezes Geely up, and that's good enough for out number 3 and strikeout number 5 for Stockton. Got to imagine he'll at least go one more inning as we head to the home half of the 5th. We remain scoreless. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Halfway through the 5th inning, pitcher's duel without a doubt. Noah Gonsis back on the bump for Team Eastside, as he'll deal with the 8-9-1 hitters, Adrian Guzman, Kyle Bonicki, Dallas Oliver, the middle infielders, and then the right fielder due up for the Corns. This one hit off the end of the bat as it spins towards the second baseman. Won't be an easy play, but Geely coming in with the speed, the barehanded play, only option he could have done. And he makes that one look fairly easy, as Adrian Guzman, we know, has that speed down the line, but Freddie Geely did everything in his power to bring that one, corral it, and get it over to first in the nick of time. Didn't even have to think about it. Nice job there from the second baseman for the Hoppers to get the first out, and it wasn't easy.
That's definitely a great play there. And like we kind of talked about a little bit on the broadcast last night, some of the fielders, especially the ones that haven't played in the USPBL, adjusting to this longer grass here at Jimmy John's Field. Definitely a longer cut than most fields. The sod was just replaced in the infield. So definitely something that they have to keep in mind. And if you've been a player for this long, a lot of guys experience coming from all different levels. You're used to a certain way that ground balls happen in the infield, and it's going to be a little bit different here. You're going to have to charge in on more balls and make more bare hand type plays, which are definitely more difficult.
Bonicki, meanwhile, fouls off the third pitch of the at-bat, looking for hit number 1 on the season. Bonicki, Clark University product out of Waterbury, Connecticut, chops this one to the right side. We've seen that a lot this afternoon from the Unicorn hitters against Noah Gotsis, and that is his bread and butter. You throw a couple of fastballs in there, and then you mix something off speed, and we have seen that now at least 3 times over there to Brian Davis. He had 2 unassisted and then takes care of that one as well. 2 up, 2 down quickly. Bonicki down there for out number 2 in the home half of the 5th, and Gotsis coming into this inning with 53 pitches, and only 5 make it now 6 here in this home half of the 5th. So for as well as Stockton was doing, I think Gotsis has him by just a hair so far, even though he's allowed more hits.
Yeah, a few more hits, but yeah, like you said, the lower pitch count, he's been cruising through the last couple of innings, went 1-2-3, striking out the side on 10 in the 3rd, almost made it 1-2-3 in the 4th, but able to limit the damage. Looking to go 1-2-3 here once again.
As Oliver fouls this one off to the left side this time around. So Stockton was doing a better job going from the right to the left outer thirds, but overall in terms of pitch selection and deception-wise, it's been Noah Gotsis without a doubt. Up until now at this point, that one taken for a ride out to left, and it's going to get over the head of Caleb Davidson, who was on the run. A nice throw into second base, but Oliver will go in standing up. A 2-out, 2-bagger for the leadoff man for the Corns, and that's exactly why he's up there at the top of this lineup. Mentioned how well he did to end the 2018 campaign for this team in Utica. He ended up with the Unicorns, was real quick, started off 8 for 17 with 3 home runs, 4 RBIs, and 8 runs scored. A guy who gets on base often, one of the more aggressive hitters in this league, and without a doubt, some of the most talent at the top of this Unicorn lineup, as standing in now is Kohli Curry, speaking of talent.
And in those 18 games last year, like you mentioned, Oliver, 11 extra base hits. We see the first extra base hit for him here on the season with that double. Yeah, also Kohli Curry. What a start to the season for him.
First extra base hit of the afternoon for either team, as Curry fouls one off. Count even at 1-1. Dallas Oliver, I'll tell you right now, that ball hits the outside grass or the outfield grass. Without a doubt, Skip Essien is going to probably be sending him at least take a chance on an errant throw and give your team the 1-run lead in the first run of the ball game.
Yeah, a lot of speed out of the box from the right-hander.
That one drops in on the inside part of the plate. Curry with a little head tilt like JJ does, staring at a piece of food, but a shake of the head, understood where he's at. Now he's down in the count 1-2, so he's definitely going to have to protect at this point in time.
He's also the beer batter of the game. Gives the fans some discounts on beer if he's able to get a hit, which he has done quite a few times so far this season. Had that blooper base hit back in the first. Went down swinging when Gotsis struck out the side back in the third.
Very key situation in this baseball game. We have not seen a lot of people past second base. Curry was able to get all the way to third back in the first inning. But other than that, it's been Dallas Oliver's. This one's chopped up the middle. Geely, the second baseman, taking charge over Watley, the defensive player of the year, but he makes the play look easy. Done that a couple of times so far here this afternoon. We are through 5, and we are still scoreless. Nothing to complain about here as we head to the 6th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. And we welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. The day is done for the starter, Spencer Stockton, and not a bad start for him in a Utica Unicorn uniform. That is something that I'm going to have to continue to get used to saying. It is
Triple U.
The Triple U. And going into this one, Stockton with 5 innings under his belt, just 2 hits allowed, no earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks on 71 pitches. A very, very good outing to start his USPBL career. And he now gives way to a man who is a familiar face to some Unicorn fans. That's AJ, Al Jordan Johnson, getting his first outing of the 2019 season under his belt here, as he's got Watley down in the count 1-2 to start the 6th.
Al Jordan Johnson, second season now in the USPBL. In 2018, pitched in 9 games through 23 innings total, 4.30 earned run average, 26 strikeouts, pretty good mark, and limited the amount of walks that he gave up, just 7. Primarily used as a reliever, but did start late in the season, including a start in the playoffs against the Mammoths. It was a good one. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs. Did walk 4 batters, but did strike out 5, able to keep it under control despite the high walk numbers. So definitely a player that we'll watch throughout this season. Maybe look for him to move up to the next level with some previous experience under his belt. Also, a great career at Mitchell College, a 3.27 earned run average over 248 innings pitched, 13 complete games. So he's been used as a starter and a reliever, being used as a reliever in this one.
And Watley, just admiring that pitch on the outside frame. Really nice job from AJ to retire Watley. Watley 1 for 3 now on the afternoon, but a good start there for the Unicorns in the 6th. And tell you what, this pitching staff for Utica has been tremendous so far this season, and would not be surprised to see them go the distance this year if they can keep up these type of numbers out there on the bump. As you see Wesley Jones looking like me out there in the batter's box. No discredit to him. He's definitely a great hitter, but definitely was fooled there by Al Jordan Johnson, who keeps that glove above the face, covering that up, not allowing the opposition to really see what he has to offer as he hides that baseball very well. Part of the reason that he is so successful, he does not allow people to really see what he's got coming, as this one misses just a bit either low or outside, brings the count to 2-1 on Jones. And
you can even see during his windup, even continues to hide the ball as he works into his windup.
The 2-1 outside corner at just 86 miles an hour, good enough to get Jones to take a cut at it. Brings this count even at 2-2.
Jones 0 for 2 in this one. Did have 2 hits in the first game.
So far, just a ground out and a fly out thus far. Stays alive, makes just enough contact. The Unicorns in their home white uniforms, purple hats, and then, of course, the Diamond Hoppers in their green unis, their away colors, as count remains at 2-2 with that foul ball. Al Jordan Johnson looking for his second consecutive strikeout instead. Back up the middle. Nice duck there by AJ to stay alive out here, but a better job by Wesley Jones. Really good contact back up the middle. First hit of the ball game for that young man right there. First really hard hit we've seen all afternoon.
Yeah, smoked that ball right up the middle, and as a pitcher, that's definitely the most dangerous situation. Your greatest fear, getting hit in the head. Good job by Al Jordan to get out of the way. That ball just absolutely smoked into center.
And obviously it's not something that the hitters try and do. They're just trying to put it in play, but
that's right.
Happy to see Al Jordan Johnson all right after nearly getting a haircut here on this Mother's Day. But I remember either last year or the year before, I believe it was Nick Schumacher there, ended up getting a comeback. He was with the Angels.
Matt Shoemaker.
And I believe he's with the Blue Jays now, but crazy to think that you can even imagine coming back from something like that, and not only that, but able to succeed. He did pretty well to start the year.
And you've seen a few guys You've seen a few guys in the major leagues that have got hit in the head, and you've even seen some guys use some innovative technology with some padded hats, and it hasn't really come full circle yet. It might be something we see a few years down the road where maybe pitchers aren't required to wear padded protection on their head, but maybe have more of a viable option that is comfortable and not too bulky like the current technology that's out there.
Definitely something that the eyes aren't used to seeing for sure. But hey, you know what? In the end, if it keeps you healthy and keeps you alive, I don't care how silly you look. I would debate on rocking that if I was Shoemaker, for sure.
And every year, pitchers throwing harder. You see the balls coming off the bats at 115, 117 miles an hour. Some of these guys, it gets more dangerous every season. They talk about moving the mound back possibly. Obviously, we raised it 2 inches here in the USPBL. But yeah, definitely something that the pitchers always have to be ready for. Ball up the middle. Right after that delivery, you better be ready to field the ball.
Good job from Al Jordan Johnson to battle back in this count. Davis started at 3-0 and now full count, but this one sails into center field, and over there at second base was Wesley Jones, who was going into second base no matter what with the base on balls, but instead of runners on first and second, it ends up going to second and third, as throwing out there to second base was Austin Maltby. Probably should have held off there, as he was maybe thinking that was strike three, and he was going for the strike him out, throw him out, but instead it goes into center field, sails over Adrian Guzman, and now runners on second and third for the Hoppers. Biggest threat we've seen all afternoon, just one out with Bryce Peterson coming up to the plate. No better time than the present, as he's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts, one swinging and one looking.
And we haven't seen too many situations, if any, with runners in scoring position and less than 2 outs, 1 out here. So biggest opportunity for either team so far offensively. Bryce Peterson looking for his first hit, went down swinging in the second and looking in the fourth. So trying to add a hit to his ledger. Did have a hit in the Diamond Hoppers' first game. Al Jordan Johnson working ahead of him here, 0-2.
Peterson out of Washington State, went to Rollins College, Division II. Combined between the last 2 baseball seasons, 45 games, but a .338 average. .417 on-base percentage, but quickly down in the count, 0-2 against Al Jordan Johnson. Trying to limit the damage. Ground ball, chopped to the left side. Let's see what the third baseman elects to do with it. That, of course, Colin Rideout ends up staying over there at first with it instead of coming home, as coming in to score was Wesley Jones with ease, but that one gets past the first baseman over there in the dirt. Tough job there for Colin Rideout. Allows Brian Davis to come in to score as well. And Bryce Peterson gets all the way over there to second base, reaching on the error, but tell you what, mentioned it about an inning and a half ago. We thought that maybe the first runs of the game would come via some type of mistake, and there we have it.
Yeah, second error for the Unicorns. Rideout, we saw, made an incredible Nolan Arenado type defensive play yesterday, charging in and barehanding a ball. Unbelievable play for him. You saw a little bit of hesitation initially, was thinking about throwing to home, but eventually fired it over to first and wide. The 2 runs able to score, something we talked about also last night, the large foul ground here at Jimmy John's Field. That ball just way out of reach for Mccabe, and 2 runs able to score on the air. Definitely could be costly for the Unicorns.
So Al Jordan Johnson trying to battle through this situation. 1 out on the board, another runner in scoring position. Pat Adams did reach on a 4-pitch walk back in the second frame, but struck out looking on 3 straight pitches to end the fourth. Trying to avoid that here in this instance against Al Jordan Johnson. There's a base open at first. Ready to attack him here. Little try and pick off play, and they got him! That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is your daylight play. That's something that was predestined between Al Jordan Johnson and Adrian Guzman. Not a lot of people might understand that type of play, but a situation where they communicate non-verbally prior to making the move, and then it's a situation where you go in, you get your sign, and then the second that you look back towards second, you bring your head back towards home, immediately take that foot off the rubber and go to second base. That was textbook stuff. Any youngsters watching out there, that was a tremendous showing to get an out in a non-conventional way.
That's a great call. Bryce Peterson with a little bit too big of a lead on second, and that's something that even the catcher can be involved with as well, communicating with the signal as Adams strikes out.
Not a bad turnaround for the Corns after allowing the 2 runs in the inning with the single walk and then the error. Nice job defensively to get through that after the Hoppers get 2 runs across the board. We head to the home half of the 6th, finally with some runs on the board. We'll see if Gotsis comes back out or if we're going to have a new arm when we come back. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen, to the USPBL YouTube channel. Rich Borland alongside Leo Ortel with you. It'll be Poche, Williams, Mccabe due up for the Unicorns in this frame. But the day is done for the starter, Noah Gotsis. He goes 5 innings strong. Did not have as many strikeouts as Luis Contreras back on opening night. Ended up with 8 Ks. Did not have any walks, but hey, you know what? No earned runs on just 4 hits through 5 frames. That is a recipe for success, and we'll see if the Hoppers can remain out in front for the rest of this one, which would give Gotsis the W, but he now gives way to the Hopper returner, and before we can even really get into it, that is, of course, Colby Neely out there on the bump with a little bit more lettuce compared to where he was at last year, but he's got a little bit more oomph on his pitches as well as Coleman Poche ends up going down via the swing and the miss for the 2nd consecutive try.
Chased on the high fastball there, gave him the high cheddar. Great pitch there. Threw 2 fastballs, I believe, in that at bat. And we'll take a look at Neely's stats from last season: 14 1/3 innings pitched, an 0-1 record, 18 strikeouts over those 14 1/3, a 6.91 earned run average, but a lot of experience coming in for these Hoppers. Actually was signed by the Dodgers back on June 30th of 2017 and pitched a few seasons with them, an affiliated ball. The highest level that he made was full A ball with the Great Lakes Loons, so a familiar team from around the area. And in that season with the Loons, a 6.43 earned run average, but over his 2 seasons in the minors, a 3.57 ERA, 2-2 record over 35 1/3, 27 strikeouts, so pretty good numbers for him. Most of his time coming in rookie ball with the AZL Dodgers in the Arizona League.
As that one misses up and in on Dan Williams, brings the count even at 2-2. Williams thus far in today's contest, a single and a strikeout after he hit the first home run of the 2019 USPBL season last night, but nothing doing on this try. Second consecutive swing and miss strikeout for the big fella out of UT Tyler, and second consecutive strikeout for Colby Neely in this 6th frame.
Yeah, we saw the first strikeout. He went with the high fastball. That time goes back to an off-speed. Absolutely fooled Dan Williams. He'll now look to strike out the side here against another left-hander, Larry Mccabe.
So here comes Mccabe. Mentioned how he's making his USPBL debut. This one hit over into the right side, just into the outfield grass. A couple of hops to the hopper right fielder Bryce Peterson as Mccabe with his first pro hit in the USPBL with 2 outs in this home half of the 6th. So Colby Neely allows one over the plate a little bit more than he would have liked, and taking full advantage of it was Larry. And now we'll see what Mr. Maltby can do as Austin comes up to the plate, 1 for 2 on the day with a single and a strikeout looking.
And so far we've talked about the aggressiveness of the Unicorns. They are out hitting the hopper 6-3, and we just saw McCabe swing on that first pitch, continuing the aggressiveness.
This one out into right center field, long way for Pat Adams, and instead it's dropped by the right fielder Peterson. That's what happens when there's 2 outs. The runner did not stop. Good job by Larry Mccabe, and this one gets past the third baseman. Overall, tough situation for Team Eastside, as what we thought was going to be out number 3 and a fly ball to right, Peterson allows it to drop, and he gets all the way to third, and most importantly for the Corns, they cut the lead in half.
Yeah, so far it's been 2 errors that have led to the runs so far in this game. The Unicorns putting their first mark on the board, now a 2-1 ball game. Just kind of lost it out there in right field. And then also heads-up base running from Austin Maltby able to reach third and gives Colin Rideout another opportunity, and they're going to try to tie this ball game.
Tough spot there for Neely. Of course, you want to somehow, some way not allow this runner on third, Maltby, to come in to score so you can give your starter the W that he definitely deserves with the way that Gonzalez had thrown out there today. It's kind of the one thing in this sport that I still try and figure out statistically how you can have a starter pitch that well and say that Neely does give up the tying run here, say the Hoppers get a run in the top half of the 7th inning, then Neely would be in line for the W. It's just one thing that I still try and, figure out as the game continues to evolve here going into 2019.
And it's definitely tough, and I think especially in the major leagues, wins are definitely an overrated statistic. I mean, you look at Jacob deGrom last year with a losing record but a sub-2 ERA. I mean, one of the most unbelievable seasons in Major League history for a pitcher. I mean, wins are pretty overrated. Like you said, you can have a start like Gotz's 5 innings pitched and no earned runs, but also, another thing that pitchers do like to do is work deep into ball games. That usually gives them a higher chance to win if they can limit the damage as far as runs.
That one chopped harder over there to first base. Neely doing his job to field that position, runs over there to the first base bag. The 3-1 putout is recorded, but not before the Corns can cut the lead in half via the base knock from Mccabe and then the error out there in right from Peterson. It's 2-1. We are through 6 here on this Mother's Day matinee contest. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready for the action. Is that Dallas Oliver, and right with the catch into the netting near the patio? Yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, you might see that one later on tonight on SportsCenter. Dallas Oliver leaping into the netting and making the catch on the run. I really hope we got that one on video because that was something to see.
Yeah, that's a tough play right there and right for Dallas Oliver. Right into that netting, right down the line here. Obviously has scouted out down the line, knows this field. That's a really tough play right on the warning track.
Wow, that was something. Meanwhile, the day is done for Al Jordan Johnson on the bump. He did go the inning, did allow the 2 runs. Neither of them earned on 1 hit. Did allow a walk, but did have a pair of strikeouts. And he now gives way to the only left-hander on this entire Utica staff, and that is Mitch Williams out of Los Angeles, California. As Davidson swings and misses through the second pitch of the at-bat. The count evens up at 1-1.
He played D2 ball out in California, used primarily as a relief pitcher in 2017 through 18 1/3 innings. A solid 2.45 ERA, striking out over 9 batters per 9 innings, 25 strikeouts, just 10 walks, and in 2016, even more dominant, a 1.93 ERA, so sub-2, a good reliever to have for this Unicorns team and Jim Essien.
We have to mention the most important part of all this. How about the stash?
That is throwback baseball right there.
It was Gavin Collins last year for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, but I think Mitch Williams might be taking the crown here for the facial features there with the mustache. That's about as thick as it can go there. As Caleb Davidson ahead in the count here, the 2-1 breaking ball, and it was 2-2. I thought it was, but still said 2-1 up on the scoreboard as Davidson gets rung up on strikes. 2 up and 2 down for Mr. Mitch Williams.
That's a great off-speed pitch right there. That looping curveball that looks like it's about to hit you as the left-handed batter, and just at the last moment with that late break, curves into the zone, absolutely froze him up, didn't even think about swinging right there, and 2 down now.
So here comes Zachary Gray, the designated hitter, 1 for 2, singled in his last try. Looks at called strike 1 to begin this at-bat.
That was an infield single for him, a slow roller over to the right side and able to beat it out with his speed.
That one just missing the outside corner. Gray, the lefty out of Henderson State, graduated in the fall, but actually became a volunteer coach this past year. In on the hands, missing inside. Count going into a favorable 2-1 offer to the designated hitter, but overall, you gotta, exclude what happened there with Al Jordan Johnson, the error that led to the 2 runs. It's been a tremendous showing from the staff from these Utica Unicorns, even though they're trailing by this one 2-1. Another line drive, not an easy catch there for Dallas Oliver, but he makes it look pretty easy out there. And we will go to stretch time at Jimmy John's Field. It's a 1-run ball game. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Guzman ahead in the count to start this one 1-0. Looks at that ball. Back out there for his second inning of work, Kolby Neely, the right-hander. This one taken for a ride out into left center field. The outfielder's playing shallow with Guzman, more known for that leather, but he took that one for a nice little ride out into left center field. Pat Adams had to go back to chase that one, but got a good jump on it and made the catch with ease on the run. One up and one down for Team Eastside to start off this home half of the seventh. Overall, pretty darn good baseball game. Pitching, defense,
Definitely.
occasional offense being strung together late in this game, and not much more you can ask for as Kyle Bonicki looks at called strike one to begin this at-bat.
And we've seen some great pitching, great defensive plays, but also just a note on the runs. All the runs have come via an error. So no earned runs for any of the pitchers. We saw great starting pitching performances from both Spencer Stockton and Noah Gotsis, but the relievers coming in have not been backed up so far by their defense. That one slapped into left for a base hit.
Bonicki with base knock number one on the season as he slaps that one to the opposite field. Good job there from the second baseman to get on base, get a threat out there with one out. Now back to the top of the order. Most important part about all that. Number 9 hitter, it's your job to get on so the guys coming up behind you can drive you in. Dallas Oliver with that double in his last at-bat. We'll see if he can put something together here as this one's hit high. If it stays in the park, should be an out with the veteran catcher, Tommy Lukongo. And he does, in fact, make it. That's a waste of an at-bat there for Dallas Oliver. He can't be too happy, but you know he's an aggressive man up there at the plate. He's looking to swing. He's not looking to just pass on by, so you got to give credit there, but Neely gets the better of him for out number 2.
It'll be Kohli Curry stepping in. Single so far. We mentioned his 4 times getting on base in the Unicorns' first game, 3 hits and a walk.
As that one over there to first. Good try from Lukongo as Curry's down in the count 0-1 to begin this one.
Yeah, but Nicky was pretty far off of first after his secondary lead. It's a good attempt from Lukongo. I don't think his first baseman Davis was quite expecting that, but good job by Davis to keep it in front of him. Big swing and a miss there. That off-speed pitch was inside at 82 miles per hour.
Not a lot of velo, but when it comes to that placement, I think maybe only a couple of players might be able to do something with it. Maybe a Mike Trout, Miguel Cabrera-esque ground ball. Chop to the right side. Easy play there for the men up the middle. Geely underhanded it to the bare hand of Kevin Watley. The 4-6 putout is good enough for out number 3. Cornstrand a runner, and they remain down by 1 run. Hopper's coming up to the plate to start the 8th. It will be the 9-1-2 coming up. You're listening and watching to the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Leo Ortel. Once again, here on this Sunday matinee Mother's Day contest. Quick shout out to my mom out in Montana, as well as my girlfriend Katie. Want to shout out some moms on this Mother's Day. Leo, you got your mom or any mothers tuned in for you?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out my mom and also my grandparents as well. Thanks for tuning in, and happy Mother's Day to you guys. Thanks for always supporting me through my ambitions.
Wouldn't be here without them, as Freddie Geely stands up at the plate. But a new arm out on the mound, and that is the right-hander out of California, man that pitched at Utah Valley University. That is Andre Sebic. Sebic, a big fella, 6'5", looks taller than 6'5" from up here, but 230 on the wait list, as Freddie Geely, about half the size of Sebic, looks at a pitch count now at 2-1 in favor of the Hopper second baseman.
Definitely a big boy out there on the mound. Like you said, Utah Valley University, which is Division I NCAA ball, 2018, used as a relief pitcher, only made one start. Total of 11 games, 15 1/3 innings, a 6.46 ERA, 18 strikeouts, and 10 walks. So maybe not the strikeout to walk ratio that he wanted, struggling a little bit with his control, but it's always a great opportunity to make a name for yourself in the USPBL.
He's obviously got enough to be up to par here at the USPBL. We're not just taking anybody here in this fourth year. 27 players in 3 seasons getting picked up by Major League affiliated teams, and our commissioner and owner, Andy Appleby, said, at the start of all this that he'd be happy if he got a couple of people in his entire tenure in Utica up to the next level, but it has been, without a doubt, a lot more than what we expected, and can't ask for much more than that. Is Freddie Geely. Meanwhile, he's pumping around the bases, sliding in safely over there to second. Little man showing some pop off his bat into right center field, and that's a lead-off double for the Hoppers, and it's exactly what you ask for. Lead-off man on in scoring position. Paul Nosche's got to be happy with that.
I think for most guys, that's probably a base hit. The outfielders were playing in. The ball just kept on rolling, basically reaching the warning track out there, so Oliver not able to cut the ball in time to get the speedy Geely trying to take second, which he did successfully, easily sliding in with basically no play. And another 9-hitter. We saw Kyle Banicki reach with a single. Another 9-hitter gets on here.
As this one hits slowly to the left side, and that grass ends up eating up the baseball, and Colin Rideout ends up, it's tough whether you call that a hit or an error, but with a little bit of a bobble, you feel as if you got to mark that one down as an E5. I believe that might be the second error on him today.
Yeah, that's definitely tough. Yeah, Rideout did make the error, which led to the 2 runs on the overthrow to first for the Hoppers, and that's definitely a tough play there. He expects it to go into his glove, but it just comes up short. He's going to have to watch all the infielders are going to have to watch for that ball to enter their glove.
Ground ball left side now. Adrian Guzman with a little bobble of it, but he picks it up quickly, gets it to second base for Banicki, and then the stretch over at first from Larry Mccabe ends up getting the 6-4-3 putout. A nice turnaround for the Unicorns defensively, and you do everything you can, but a couple of hops over there on that left side of the infield. A good job by Guzman to react and get the play that he was begging for.
Now that's a great play, staying with it after it hit off his glove to turn 2. Runner moves over to third, but now 2 outs.
So a good job by Guzman, Banicki, and also Mccabe to put that one together. Meanwhile, Brian Davis taking one for a charge. Dallas Oliver running back and got his feet twisted up a bit, but he ends up chasing that baseball down, hit on a line. Dallas Oliver, quite the athlete out there in right, making himself a stay-at-home name there for the Corns. But the Hoppers do remain out in front still, 2-1, but it could have been a lot more as we are halfway through the 8th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We welcome everybody back to the broadcast here on the YouTube channel. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. It'll be Coleman Poche, Dan Williams, Larry Mccabe due up to start the home half of the 8th as the Unicorns down to their last 6 outs as they trail the Hoppers by a score of 2-1. Colby Neely out there for his 3rd inning of work outside of the single followed by the error in the 6th. He's been absolutely stellar and not messing around here in the home half of the 8th. 1, 2, 3. You can sit him down real quick. And speaking of 1, 2, 3, that's the 3rd consecutive strikeout there for Poche. First time looking, though, as he goes down for out number 1 to start the home half of the 8th as the Unicorns will try to keep their season perfect, as both teams have yet to lose through their first games, as Dan Williams takes a half-hearted swing, but that's courtesy of Colby Neely's nasty stuff that he's got going on so far in this one. So much improvement this year, pitching-wise, for this entire league as a whole, because there were some games in the last couple of years where we saw, 15-9 type of games or something like that, but we've been very fortunate so far here in 2019 with the pitching that we have been able to see as Dan Williams fouls one off out of play quickly. Down in the count 0-2 as we're just crossing the 3 o'clock mark, and we are just at an hour and 54 minutes on this baseball game thus far. Cannot complain about that. This one hit up high. Looks like it's going to get right in front of us here in the booth, and instead it goes up into the suites above our head. Founder Suites, one of the best places to watch, especially now that there is a little bit of sprinkling here at the ballpark. We were expecting that towards the later parts of the game, but with the way that these two staffs have been able to maintain composure out there on the bump, fans are getting pretty much everything they can ask for, and all pretty much before the heavy stuff comes our way. But a tough spot there for Colby Neely, as on an 0-2 pitch, he ends up getting a piece of Dan Williams to put on the tying run over at first, so the game what would be winning runs standing in at home plate. That's Larry Mccabe, who's 1 for 3 with a single, the only run scored in this ball game. See if he can go back-to-back with a pair of knocks, as it looks as if, is that a catcher being subbed into run? I think it is. That might be Jimmy Latona over there for
looks like it is.
Dan Williams. So not something that I say all that often, a catcher coming into pinch run.
Yeah, they obviously trust his speed, putting a little bit more speed on for Williams via the pinch runner. So we'll see if he can become a base running threat right here with Larry Mccabe up to the plate.
Yeah, this is where the baseball game sort of turns into a chess match. Every little decision could prove pivotal, as this ball fouled off at 90 miles an hour off to our left. It's been a really fun first weekend of the 2019 USPBL season. Saw a really great battle on opening night with the Hoppers getting the first victory of the season over the 2-time defending USPBL champion Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers by a score of 5-4. And then yesterday saw the finale 5-1. That was all Utica in that one. A tremendous full staff effort there. The combination of Goodson as well as Neff and then Alagus. 3 of those men putting together a very nice piece of work, as Larry Mccabe on the 1-2. Neely drops in the bender and gets strikeout count at number 3 on the afternoon. Nice job there from Mr. Neely, the Washington State University product. Good enough for out number 2. Let's see if he can strike out the side with that little bump in the road with the hit by pitch to Dan Williams, as he was darn close to striking him out as well.
Yeah, struck out 2 in the 6th. That was Coleman Poche and Dan Williams going down. Now struck out 2 here in the 8th with Poche once again, and then McCabe, Austin Maltby at the plate, 2 down with 1 man on.
Maltby ahead in this count, 1-0 to start. Reached on that big fly on the error committed by Bryce Peterson just 2 innings ago.
Ooh.
This ball swung on, that bat slipping right out of the hand of Maltby. Glad that there is enough room in foul territory. We've seen that happen here and there in the major league level, where a couple of fans necessarily are either unlucky or lucky, depending on how you look at it. But it'd be very, very small percentage to have that happen here with the great protective netting and the amount of space we have in between the field of play and where the fans are sitting. But the count, even at 1-1, Maltby looking for his third consecutive reaching of the base safely. He had the single in the fourth, and of course, like I mentioned, the error in the sixth. Breaking ball right over the heart of the plate. Good pitch by Neely brings the count to 1-2. So now you're not sure what you're going to see if you're Maltby. Could be fastball up, could be some junk down in the dirt. And it is that high cheddar at 90 miles an hour, right around that spot where you want it. Right at the top of the zone where Maltby has to make some type of contact and be able to keep up with it, but he does just that.
Yeah, maybe not as high as he wanted it. Could elevate it a little bit more. We'll see what he'll go back to here on the 1-2. He's got a few pitches to throw away. Maybe he'll go back to the off-speed, try to get Maltby chasing outside. He went down looking in the second, but also a catcher usually has pretty good vision up there at the plate. You see a lot of pitches back there. You're able to gauge things like movement, spin rate. So typically catchers, a better eye than the average batter up at the plate. One for three so far from Maltby. That single back in the fourth. And then he reached on that error to the right fielder Peterson.
That one taken for quite the ride, about 100 feet foul, but almost had the distance as Maltby stays alive for at least one more pitch. Unicorns down to their final 4 outs in this one. Hoppers have the heart of their order coming up to start the ninth.
Yeah, another chance to strike out the side here after 2 fouls, and he'll do it.
That is the case. Neely with another strikeout. Count it 5 on the day in just 3 frames. Really good stuff there from the Washington native. We have a 2-1 score as we head to the final frame at Jimmy John's Field. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We welcome everybody back to the USPBL YouTube channel. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you for at least one more frame. Hoppers out in front by a score of 2-1 as we have a new arm out on the bump for these Utica Unicorns. We'll tell you that in a second as first pitch swinging, Bryce Peterson. So far on the day, Peterson was 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts and a reach on an error, and with that ground out over there, the shortstop position, he is officially 0 for 4 on the day. And as I take a quick look through this lineup, just he, Tommy Lukongo, and Caleb Davidson, the only Hoppers to not reach base safely in today's contest. Pat Adams did way back in the second on 4 straight pitches, but has struck out twice since then. But the new man, Sam Cottingham-Beard, out there on the hill for the Unicorns, had 11 relief appearances last season with 15 and a third innings pitched as he continues to cruise into this season. Didn't have any record, but did have 1 save under his belt, only 15 hits allowed in those 15 and a third innings. Only had 4 walks to 15 strikeouts, though, and you can tell the deception there, having weak contact on a half swing, but the speed from Pat Adams is absolutely there, and the Hoppers trying to add on some insurance late in this one, as they could definitely use it, as the Corns will have the bottom and then the top coming up possibly in this home half of the ninth. But for a little bit more on Sam Cottingham-Beard, I hand it back over to Leo.
Yeah, Cottingham-Beard, second year, like you said, Rich, in the USPBL out of Oak Park, Illinois. Attended Western Illinois University. His 2018 stats also 11 games in relief, just like last season in the USPBL. A 3.47 earned run average, a 1-1 record, 23 and a third innings pitched, and a pretty solid 21 strikeouts.
It's pretty unique to say that you've played as a leatherneck and a unicorn in your career, something that a lot of people don't necessarily get to say as the 0-1. Drops off on the outside part of the plate. Austin Maltby could not squeeze onto it, but probably was going to be a ball either way. Count evens up at 1-1. Sam Cottingham-Beard trying to get through this inning as quick as possible. Tommy Lukongo, a prime candidate for a ground ball that could turn into a double play, as Lukongo, of course, does not have all the speed in the world. He's definitely turned up the hitting so far this year compared to last.
Yeah, 0 for 3 so far in this game, but 2 for 3 in the first game with 2 big RBIs that led the Hoppers to their victory.
Ground ball back up the middle. Sam Cottingham-Beard doesn't even think about going to second base as he made the right decision there. Knew that he had Lukongo easily at first, but of course that insurance run getting 90 feet closer into scoring position. But if I'm Sam Cottingham-Beard, all I'm focused on is Caleb Davidson and trying to focus on retiring him. Keep it low. Don't let him take you for a ride. Keep it a 1-run deficit as Davidson, 0 for 3 on the day. Fly out, ground out, and a strikeout. He's got 1 of each as he takes a called strike right down Broadway to begin his final at-bat of the day.
Yeah, this is now the 3rd relief pitcher being used by Utica. We saw 2 used in the first game, so they've used quite a few arms, and that one comes in on him and hits him.
It's a tough spot right there, but it looks as if Davidson is perfectly okay. He ends up jogging over to first without any issue. Glad to see he's all right. It's never fun when you get hit, but when the weather is sub 50, it's even worse, but he looks like he's going to be all right.
Yeah, it might sting a little bit. And, we were talking about the weather a little bit earlier with the rain coming down here. We saw one of the batters, a bat got out of his hand. Just not the best weather conditions as far as being out in the field, even being up at the plate, and really tough on pitchers as well. On those off-speed pitches, it can be tough to grip the ball sometimes, so maybe not as effective as they could be, but it's been still a pretty good pitcher's battle here, but the defense has struggled. 5 errors total, 2 for the Hoppers, 3 for the Unicorns, and that has played a big factor in all the runs scored in this game.
And that just goes to show you how good of pitching we've been able to see today. You don't see a lot of games where there's 5 total errors combined between 2 teams and only 3 combined runs. So just got to give credit where credit is due to this staff from both teams, and ultimate credit going to Justin Orenduff for helping these guys get to where they want to be.
Absolutely.
Of course, still working out the kinks as we're in the first weekend of the 2019 season, but overall, think that's been the story this weekend. Pitching, pitching, and more pitching.
Yeah, and Orndorff works extensively with the pitchers. We've talked a little bit about the mound being raised a few inches. And not only do the pitchers have to make an adjustment, the hitters do as well. You're seeing the ball released from a different release point higher than you're used to. So, yeah, it's tough for the pitchers and the hitters at this point in the season. But so far, through the first 2 games and now into this 3rd game, pitching has been dominant.
2's up on the board and down in the dirt away, that 82-mile-an-hour changeup. Not enough for Gray to pull the trigger. A really nice pitch, but in the end, a better eye from Zachary Gray. Runners on first and second. Count is full. 2 outs up on the board. You know what that means. Both Adams as well as Davidson are going to be moving on. The first movement that we see from Beard, there they go. This one hitting to left center field will not be an easy play. Out there in left is Curry, but it's going to end up getting down. Out there in center, picking it up is Poche, and coming in to score both Adams and Davidson. Stepping up big time there for some insurance is Zachary Gray. That is your AAA insurance runs of the game, and it is now 4-1 in favor of Team Eastside. Look at like the Hoppers, who I guess would definitely be the hungriest team going into the 2019 season. Going into last year, they were the only team that hadn't made the championship game. They finally got there last year, but of course the Beavers taking the reins and winning their 2nd consecutive championship. So you're loving what you're seeing if you're Paul Noce through this first weekend as Geely hits a pop fly into foul territory. Underneath it is Colin Rideout, and Geely is retired, but not before Zachary Gray can bring in 2 with 1 swing of the bat. It's 4-1 Hoppers. As we head to the final frame, Corns need 3 to keep this one alive here on Mother's Day. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Leo Ortel. The day is done for Colby Neely, and what a day it was. 3 innings of work, allowed just the 1 run, but it was not earned. Struck out the side in the 8th, and in total did have 5 Ks to his name, but he now giving way to the closer here for these Eastside Diamond Hoppers is Colin Rideout, trying to get things going for the Corns offensively in this home half of the ninth. Fouls one off of his shin, and it goes right back to Tamaka, but home plate umpire right on top of it. So Rideout quickly down in this count 0-2, but Tamaka coming to us from South Elgin, Illinois, as in the 2018 regular season, he was tremendous. 31 innings pitched and 23 relief appearances. Did have a 3-3 record, but he only allowed 23 hits, and here's the kicker, and one thing I always love to talk about with relief pitchers especially, only 14 walks to 36 strikeouts, so over double the amount of strikeouts compared to walks, and you see right on cue, Tyler Tamaka not messing around and going right after Rideout with a swing and the miss for out number one. He also had an ERA of 3.19 last year, so overall, it's understood why Tyler Tamaka's in the situation that he's in.
That great ERA last year, like you mentioned, in the 2018 USPBL season. Also attended Loras College and had a great senior campaign in 2018 as well. A 1.35 earned run average in Division II ball, a 1-1 record, 33 strikeouts, and opponent batting average of just 141, and he set the single season save record for Loras College with 7. An all-conference honorable mention.
And meanwhile, as Tamaka continues, as this one in the dirt, evens the count up at 1-1. That's not Adrian Guzman standing in. That is, of course, Mr. Dan Elliott. Dan Elliott was batting in the cleanup spot yesterday. Had a tough outing, 3 strikeouts, reached on an error, and also grounded out. But no better time than the present to try and make something happen. Count at 1-1. Tamaka, how about that breaking ball? Started right over the heart of the plate at 82 miles an hour, then at the very last second just broke in on the hands. But a better job from Dan Elliott to recognize that spinning motion and lay off of that one, as Tamaka loves going in on the hands of lefties and getting ground balls. It's part of his success. That one inside again. Elliott trying to remain composed in the box, but after a couple well in on the body, got to be ready for pretty much anything here on this 3-1.
And Elliott's had a tough start to the season so far, looking for its first hit. A little bit low of a batting average last year at the 213 mark, but did send 5 out of the park in just 20 games. So a lot of potential in his bat, and we'll see what he can do this year. And also just a tough spot coming off cold off the bench as the pinch hitter for Adrian Guzman. But probably just looking to find his way on base. Unicorns down by 3. They just need to, get someone on base. He's not trying to send one out right now.
And you can't. You need some type of threat out on the base pass, and that is exactly what he does. Yep. So a great job coming in late into this ball game as that pinch hitter, and I wonder if he's going to get ran for. He's not necessarily slow, but he definitely isn't at the top of the list in terms of speed on the entire USPBL roster. But Skip is going to elect to stay with Elliott over at first. Maybe if he gets into scoring position, things will change. But for now, Elliott's going to remain over at first as Bonicki stands in. Bonicki 1 for 3 on the afternoon. And that one hit came recently in the 7th on the single as he fouls one off of his body here. You're going to see that a lot when Tyler Tamaka's out on the mound. A lot of inside stuff in on the hands of these lefties, and he's already showing exactly what he can do and exactly what he's going to do throughout the rest of his time here at the USPBL. As that fastball at 89 does miss upstairs. Tamaka, like I mentioned, Watley, another guy that I follow on social media, and Tamaka was another one of those guys that, he puts in a lot of hard work, and there's a reason that he is in this type of position as the count is even at 1-1. Backdoor breaking ball given there, called strike 2 by our home plate umpire. Looked like it broke just a pinch late, but had enough juice on it to get a hair of that outside corner. So the count now 1-2 on Bonicki. He's going to have to try and make something happen if it's at least close to the strike zone. The 1-2 pitch over the heart of the plate, but had some breaking action on it. Stays alive, though. Good job by Bonicki to make at least a little bit of contact.
And also changing speeds. The previous pitch to that last one, 71 miles an hour. That last one coming in there at 83. Changes locations. Like you said, he can work inside with his fastball, so the ability to do that, but also that backdoor breaking ball that we saw. Nice frame job from Lukongo.
This one taken for a ride out to left field, but it'll stay in the park. That's Caleb Davidson out there in left field. Ends up retiring Bonicki, and the Utica Unicorns down to their final out here in this home half of the ninth, but in terms of the situation at hand, you try and look at the positives. You got the top of the order coming up. If you're Jim Messian's team, Dallas Oliver, he's shown all his athleticism out there in right field today defensively, but also does have that double to his name back in the fifth inning, but definitely would have liked to have had a better at-bat in his last try as he popped down to the catcher on the first pitch that he's seen. But he's seen no more than 3 pitches in any of his at-bats today, so a very aggressive human being up there in the batter's box, looks at a slider that misses away, and these two definitely know each other, both being on the rosters last year. Each of them know what the other can do, so a nice battle here between two stellar athletes.
And you talked about his aggressiveness, and it did pay off in the fifth with that double, but he'll look to put together definitely a quality at bat here. He's got to find his way on base with 2 down. Obviously, just like all the other hitters this inning, you don't want to send the ball out of the park. You got to find your way on base. We've already seen the 1 walk to Dan Elliott. Great job in the pinch hitting role. Yeah, Oliver has seen quite a few pitches. Obviously his first time seeing Tamaka this season, but definitely frustrated with his last at-bat. Slammed the bat down after swinging on the first pitch and popping out to the catcher Lukongo. So looking to get some revenge.
That one misses the zone away. Good job by Lukongo to keep that one in front of him. As Tamaka is going to have to battle here. Last thing you want to do is put the tying run up at the plate, with it being Kohli Curry, who was 3 for 4 yesterday with the trio of singles.
Good hitter's count for Oliver.
3-1.
See what he can do.
Outside corner, miss. So a whole different approach up at the plate for Dallas Oliver, contrary to what he normally does. But a pair of walks here in this bottom of the ninth inning have put the tying run at the plate, and I don't think Paul Noche's going to mess around here. Looks as if he might be bringing somebody else in, but hold on just a second. He looked as if he had pointed, but I'm not sure if he was pointing to somebody to go get loose or to bring somebody in. It looks as if going out there at the moment is Brendan Henriquez, but looks as if he's going to allow Tamaka to at least get one more batter.
That's right.
And get that save here in this situation.
Yeah, there wasn't any previous action, but like you said, Henriquez just trotting out to get loose quick. He'll be tossing out there pretty quickly. Paul Noche, a very experienced manager, doesn't want to let this game slip out of his hands. Looking to start off the season and continue the season undefeated, as the Hoppers are looking for their second win, but hey, it's a chance for Kohli Curry right now with 2 outs. Like you said, a great hitter, 3 hits in the Unicorns' first game, has been held hitless today. Actually had that base hit blooper in the first. And also going back to Dallas Oliver's last at-bat, definitely shows his maturity as a hitter. You know, came in with that double in the fifth, that frustrating at-bat in the seventh, and able to get himself a walk, a very unselfish at-bat for him to give his team a chance.
This ball battled into left field, but that is going to do it. Kohli Curry ends up flying out to the left fielder, Caleb Davidson, and that is your final, ladies and gentlemen. Through the first weekend of the 2019 USPBL season, it is Team Eastside that is on top, the only team left undefeated throughout this first weekend, and that courtesy of, no doubt, pitching. You
Absolutely.
saw, of course, on opening night there, Luis Contreras with 5 innings and 10 Ks, and then here today we saw Gotsis with 5 innings of his own, had 6 strikeouts, didn't allow any runs on just 4 hits, didn't have any walks, which is always crucial, but offense came together there in the 6th inning, did not get any earned runs, but overall, you got to appreciate exactly what these Hoppers could put together. And Leo, your first weekend through the season, I know you had plenty of Hopper watching back when your brother was in the league there in 2016, but overall, what's your first take on your first weekend here, technically interning here with us at the USPBL?
Yeah, 4th season of the USPBL. Looks like it's going to be a great season, and really, like you said, pitching has been absolutely dominant so far. A great start, actually great starts from both pitchers today. Spencer Stockton, credit to him for 5 scoreless innings for the Unicorns, but got us a little bit better. Also scoreless, the relief pitchers for the Hoppers able to get it done as well. Colby, Neely with those 5 strikeouts. Tyler Tamaka comes in at the end of the game, tallies 1 strikeout, throws a scoreless frame. And also nice job by Zachary Gray to tack on that a few insurance runs with that 2 RBI double in the 9th. It makes it a lot more easy, a lot easier for the closer Tamaka out there. Yeah, great first weekend of baseball here. The Diamond Hoppers stay undefeated, and I'm sure Paul Noce very happy with that. Looking for their first USPBL championship, trying to stop those Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers from the three-peat.
Yeah, without a doubt. Got to give credit where credit's due. Zachary Gray, the designated hitter, batting in the 8th spot for the Hoppers lineup. 2 RBI double in the 9th inning to give them the insurance runs, and also had a single back in the 5th frame. Combination of that with the stuff that we saw from the pitchers in today's contest. Hoppers looking very sharp throughout this one. Unicorns did look great last night with the staff, but could not string together any offense this afternoon. But overall, very fun first weekend. Got all the games in. Opening night was a complete success, and we're excited for what is next to come throughout the next couple of weekends here. And talking about what we have on tap for next weekend, we don't have any Thursday games yet. Our first Thursday game will be on the 23rd of May, but coming up this weekend, it'll be Westside Woolly Mammoths taking on the Unicorns on Friday for, of course, our firework spectacular. It's also Meet the Unicorns night, so Unicorn fans, make sure you come out on Friday night. And then Saturday, it'll be a crosstown rival as the Eastside plays Westside. Another WCSX Classic Rock Saturday, also Armed Forces Day on Saturday, and the live Bullet Detroit Band. And then, of course, a week from today, Team Eastside taking on the reigning champ Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. It'll be Lego Day featuring Legoland. It'll also be Meet the Beavers Day. And, of course, like every other Sunday here at Jimmy John's Field, it'll be Sunday Fun Day. So for Leah Ortel, my name is Rich Borland. Appreciate everybody tuning in to the broadcast here today. Once again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, whether it's the players or somebody tuning in there for us. And we appreciate everything that you've been able to do for us. Get the players to this position, and also us up here in the broadcast booth. Wouldn't be here without the moms. And we hope you have a great rest of your Mother's Day, but we are all said and done for the first weekend here of the 2019 USPBL season. For Leo Ortel, my name is Rich Borland. You stay classy, Utica.